there are extremely tight gun laws in Connecticut. And this woman whose child shot up all these kids, she passed all those strict gun laws. And guess what? Her kid just had access to her guns and killed her first. So where is the solution?
Yeah, I don't know. The solution is in man's heart. That's what it is. People are screwed up. People have bad ideas, and people have messed up lives.
So you would disagree
until that can be solved, and I don't think that's ever going to be solved until the end times. This kind of thing is just inevitable.
So all right, can we just give a...
No, hold on. You would disagree with people like Brian Fisher and Mike Huckabee, who say that these things happen because we took God out of schools and their prayers.
I just do see a relationship, and I see that atheists often try to deny this relationship. I think it's quite clear. The numbers speak for themselves, I think.
Well, Neff, to me, that's kind of interesting, because the thing that I would cite there, and again, like I don't know if you heard me, but you being the expert in this, is I'm definitely interested. And again, thanks for coming on and taking my Skype request. But what your numbers would seem to disagree is if you look at Europe and the UK in particular, they've literally taken their churches and turned them into dance clubs, tattoo parlors, all kinds of things that are in a lot of you could definitely look at the Bible and see that not only is it's the Bible, but some people would consider it blasphemous. And we don't see that over there. And the correlation would seem to indicate that if there would be a country that would not be under the protection of God anymore, Europe and specifically the UK should fall under that. And if what you're saying held true, then we should really see a lot more of this type of thing in Europe.
Well, I'm not an expert on that matter, the difference between Europe and the United States, but I can give you a couple of things to consider. The United States, people in the United States live under a much more pressured situation than people in Europe. Did you know the average European works 5.5 hours a day?
Yeah, I know.
In America, the average American schmuck works 8 to 12 hours a day.
Well, that's largely in part.
No, look at the Middle East. Go on these statistics on the Middle East too.
And it goes, and there's more than that. In Europe, they've had a lot of their rights already taken away. So these people have already been sheepled already to some degree.
What about the theocracy in other Middle East countries?
When you've domiciled the population to some degree, you get less resistance. Isn't that the kind of theology behind a lot of tyranny in the world? But in communism, indoctrinate, and they grow into sheeple. That's the kind of way, and that's kind of what's happened. That's kind of happened to Europe, and so they get. I know their taxes are higher, and the gas price is ridiculous. What's it like, $5.5, $6.5 a gallon? But how much do they need to drive in Europe? They don't drive much.
It's irrelevant. Grappling ignorance.
10 miles or less from his place of employment.
Grappling.
So what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot less stress to being, and they get free medical care in a lot of these countries, or it's dirt cheap.
Free, they get taxed for it.
In the United States, the cost of medical care, although it's the best technology in the world, is so high. There are parents that can't afford to take their kids to the doctor when they get the flu.
Yeah, grappling.
But Neff, it seemed like you went off topic there, because we were asking about protection from God, and you seemed to switch over to pressure on humans.
No, what I was trying to point out is that in Europe, people live a much stressed life overall. They have a much more leisurely lifestyle, and some of their social norms are fixed by a socialist government. So
but I'm not understanding how that would negate.
Well, that trickles down to the mindset of the children. You see, if they don't, in America, a kid grows up thinking, "Oh my God, I've got to make X thousands of dollars just to pay for my kids' shoes between the time they're born and before they're 20 and they leave the house." I mean, and then how am I going to get this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I can't even. It costs $100 just to see a general practitioner. Emergency room, ride to the emergency room, $350, $400.
Wait. Are you making?
I get all that.
Are you making an argument for social medicine? Because that's what it sounds like.
I'm saying that the pressures of being an American are higher than of life.
Because our fucking country is more messed up. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse. That's just my style usually.
Well,
I'm trying.
Well, that's a separate subject as to whether it's messed up or not more. Okay, that's another thing. The point I'm making is that kids.
Neff. Let Cocktail talk real quick.
You're saying that our lives are more stressed because our healthcare system is less.
That figures into it. Is all I mean.
Well, yeah. So we're more screwed up than them, and we need to be worried about their system.
No. Well, I think there's truth in that. Yeah.
Well, no, there's absolutely no. Their system.
No, I'm not going to get into a big debate about Europe and the United States because that gets into Europeanism and Americanism, and I don't really feel like going there.
Okay. Just let him talk real quick.
Go there, but you did bring it up. What I would like to come back to is that you agree with Brian Fisher and Mike Huckabee and anyone else that says that it's because we've taken religion out of schools and out of the public square and whatnot, and where government is providing abortion, and that's why we should let children be murdered.
Well, kids could still pray in school, by the way.
No, I've never said anything. That's why we should let children be murdered.
That's the excuse you give to your God in order to allow the children. Why wasn't God there? Well, we didn't invite him.
Cock,
I don't make any such assertion.
Don't put words in his mouth, Cock, because that's just going to get us fighting. Let him explain.
No, I don't say that. I don't say that we should let kids get murdered.
People that say that.
Neff, I'm sure you understand what he's discussing right now with Brian Fisher and Huckabee, but go ahead, explain it if you want to.
Yeah, I do, but no, I don't think that we should let kids get murdered. No, I think that's a non sequitur. I think.
Well, what's your take on what Brian Fisher and Huckabee said? What is your take on that about taking God out of school, supposedly?
I think Huckabee is largely right in that the decay of the morality of the United States is partly to blame for.
You're saying that you agree that it's God being taken out of. You agree with Huckabee that it's God, no prayer in school, and God being taken out of the public square, but that simply means that your God that you worship is so upset. He's so upset about not being worshipped constantly by everyone that he's willing to punish children who had nothing to do with it, or allow them to be killed.
How did God?
Because he had nothing to do with these decisions that were made.
How did God cause that kid to do anything? No. That's a huge non sequitur.
God,
huge non sequitur. No.
God,
you can't say God caused that. No.
Well, who caused it then, nephew? Who caused it?
Can I ask a follow? Can I ask a follow up on this real quick? Neff, does God? I mean, do you in Exodus? Didn't God kill all the firstborn? Doesn't he have a record of doing that firsthand? Or am I wrong in that?
Firstborn? No, the Pharaoh of Egypt ordered that the firstborn would be killed so that the Son of God could be killed.
And what made it so
wait a second. My understanding with that is that when God was talking to Moses, God informed Moses that he had turned Pharaoh's heart. So God manipulated the mind of Pharaoh and knew that he wouldn't do it, then asked him to do it and told him that if he didn't, he would kill all the firstborn and put the symbol on the door.
The Pharaoh said the Pharaoh said that he would. God said that he would harden Pharaoh's heart. Now,
correct.
You have to understand this. His heart was already hardened, and it was not. It was going to go. Let's say you've got
hardened by God.
A trajectory of a bullet that's going to go where it's going to go when you pull the trigger. Period. Okay. And let's say, all God did was bring it to the ground quicker instead of allowing the bullet to travel 2 miles before it hit the ground. He brought it to the ground after a mile. That's all he did. See, God hardened his heart. His heart was already where it was going to be. God just brought things to a pass according to his time scale and his way to make sure that it happened in his way when he wanted it to. It was already hard. His heart was going to be what it was. God just kick-started the process and said, that he made it come to fruition perhaps maybe faster than he wanted it, than the Pharaoh would have. For his purpose. See, God manipulates the hearts of man for his purpose when necessary. He didn't make Pharaoh's heart that way. He just directed it so that it would come to its fruition.
So he could have directed the heart of the gunman in the school shooting. He could have if he wanted
There's
to.
nothing impossible to God.
Okay, so there's nothing impossible to God, but he didn't do anything. He allowed the children to be
God
murdered.
culpable because he didn't do what man. Wait, man did something evil, and God's guilty because man did it.
No. Well, God did make man, right? And he made them in his image. And God is pretty evil in the Bible.
No, God is not evil.
No, you're right. If God
God
murders, it's okay because it's God.
God
If the Satan murders, then it's bad.
Cactopus.
God doesn't murder. God levies justice. There's a difference in God's
Well,
holy
if
justice
he
and murder.
kills a human being,
That's
that's
something
what we
that the
call
atheists
murder.
will never
It doesn't matter
acknowledge.
if you're God or me. It doesn't matter.
Well, the reason you don't recognize it is because you don't recognize the holiness of God. That's why you're.
I actually was raised Christian my whole fucking life. I'm sorry, I keep cussing.
Okay, so you were raised Christian.
meant to
That
be
doesn't
punchy.
change what you think now, right?
No. What I think now is that I tried, like you do, to defend Christianity for a very long time, and I often found that the arguments against it were pretty accurate, and the arguments for it were pretty fallacious.
Well, I'm sorry you came out that way.
Well,
maybe you're a victim too.
But to say that because I tried, I wasn't just like brain dead to and believed whatever I was told. I actually really tried, like you do. But I came to atheism.
You followed your heart.
And for this, I will be punished. Even though I tried, just like you do, to come to the truth, I will be punished.
No, you followed your heart. What did Satan?
Then God made my heart that way.
God hardened the heart of the Pharaoh.
And he hardened
maybe your own heart has been hardened by the world, but it was already where it is.
So I deserve to be punished forever.
Hey, I don't know. I can't judge. It's not me to judge.
Hey, Neff, let me get one little thing, and then I'll be off real quick. Neffy, just to be clear, Exodus 12:29. I'm reading from King James because I know that's what you use. And it came to pass at midnight, the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. I'm not understanding how the Pharaoh did that.
Okay.
That was
the
God
passage, and I never discuss scripture without knowing exactly what passage I'm talking about. Because I've had atheists quote things that aren't even in the Bible.
Yeah, please go ahead and turn to this. It's Exodus 12:29.
Okay.
12:29. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn, and then it goes on. What I'm not understanding is that, to me, I don't see how you can interpret that anyone but God.
This is one of the plagues of Egypt. Yes.
Yes, correct. This is
okay. So God did. Yeah, God did. He killed them. Now, first off, how did he kill them? Did he cause them to writhe and writhe and torment and or maybe God snuffed them out like that and they suffered?
Wait a second. How does that matter? God killed the children?
It does matter. It does matter. Wait a second. It does matter. Consider how does it say how God smote them? No. Is God throughout the word? Doesn't God describe himself as merciful, compassionate, forgiving, even unwilling to torment the wicked completely according to everything they deserve, but he will be even lenient upon them? Of course, that is. Wait, let me finish, please. Let me finish. Okay, so God describes himself as merciful, loving, and forgiving all throughout the Bible. Now, I think it stands to reason, knowing the character of God, that God didn't cause these little children to torment. No, when it says he took their lives, I think he meant it. He took them.
So
they didn't suffer.
So what?
Okay, now secondly, I'm not quite through. I'm not quite through. If he took their lives, okay, fine, but let me finish. If he took their lives, okay, now what did he do with their souls?
Bye-bye. All right, fuck you. If God just took my daughter's life instead of making her fucking die in agony, fuck you and fuck your God. Fuck. Bitch.